But 26 attorneys general are getting behind President Trump's push to get these guys out of the country. They're being led by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson. And Attorney General Wilson joins us now live. Good morning, sir. So you filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Court of Appeals asking them to reverse the judge's decision to block these flights. I mean, when did people in black robes take over the foreign policy of the United States?
That is a great question. This judge has no more right to try to turn back what President Trump is trying to do by removing these transnational criminal organizations, or these actual terrorists is what they are. Has no more right to do that than he does to walk into the Pentagon and order a general not to order a drone strike. I mean, this is perfectly within the purview of the President of the United States under his Article 2 powers to go into foreign affairs and promote national security. This is not an area for the courts to weigh in on. Again, this Tren de Aragua gang has been identified as a foreign terrorist organization. It's no different than Osama bin Laden or ISIS being picked up here in the United States and taken and shipped out of this country. So again, that's why the states are stepping up, not just because of the law enforcement implications, but because of the national security implications this poses to our respective states.
And now there's a move to have this specific judge who wanted this plaintiff criminals to come back to the U.S. impeached. But Chief Justice John Roberts decided to weigh in, saying a disagreement with a judge is not an impeachable offense. Where do you think this goes from here? Do you think some of the Republicans talking about impeachment have a case here?
Well, look, I mean, I thought the impeachment process that was used against Donald Trump twice in his first administration was reprehensible and abhorrent. I absolutely hate the weaponization of the impeachment process. But at the same time, you know, folks like Clarence Thomas, who in a Supreme Court case in Trump v. Hawaii, said that he thought that if the courts, district courts start to get too crazy with doing TROs and national injunctions like this particular judge does, that the Supreme Court would need to take this issue up. And I want to do what Clarence Thomas asked. I want to get this before the high court so that we can get this stopped and let President Trump implement the agenda he was elected to implement.
Now, a great example for that and opportunity might be the issue of birthright citizenship. Judges in states like Maryland, Massachusetts blocked the president's executive order, calling it unconstitutional. Right now, obviously, you and South Carolina are helping to lead that charge, with the Supreme Court weighing a request on whether to allow these restrictions while the legal, basically, discussion plays out. What do you think? I mean, do you think the 14th Amendment has been misrepresented or misinterpreted for now, what, 100+ years, couple of 100 years?
Absolutely, it's been misapplied. I mean, obviously, the way that it's been interpreted over the last 100 or so years is a misnomer in American jurisprudence. I personally believe that the 14th Amendment was written to confer citizenship to emancipated slaves, but not to the children of diplomats or sojourners or travelers. This interpretation of the 14th Amendment, think of the criminal conduct it has incentivized. It's created an entire birth tourism industry where people are just coming here to drop a kid so that they can avail themselves of all the rights and privileges of being a U.S. citizen. This is not what the 14th Amendment was intended to do. It was intended to convey citizenship to emancipated slaves, but not to convey citizenship to the children of foreign nationals who were probably here for nefarious purposes.
So I know that South Carolina is one of 18 states supporting the president's executive order here, yet nearly 24 states filed a lawsuit to stop it. What do you see happening next?
Listen, I think the Supreme Court, this particular Supreme Court, like it did in the Dobbs decision and other big important decisions, it looks at the text of a constitutional provision or statutory provision. It considers the text and the history of that particular writing, and it basically interprets it based on that text and that history. And I think if the Supreme Court does that with the 14th Amendment, this misapplied interpretation of the 14th Amendment, this birthright citizenship, will be overturned. That is what I hope the Supreme Court will do. That is what I believe that they possibly will do.
All right, Attorney General Alan Wilson from South Carolina, thanks for joining us. We'll keep track on these cases. I'm sure they're going to be fascinating to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So President Donald Trump has a big agenda that was mandated by the American people and has